Peace, everyone. This is your girl Sequoia Blue. Happy New Year. We are back and ready to talk about some new topics. We got new guests, we got new shows coming up. So just sit back and enjoy. Today we have Jasper in here today. Jasper Smith, aka Mr. Build Wealth. And he's going to come here and tell us how to get our money right because we out here messing up, inflation going on, and nobody know what to do. So
Right.
we all trying to find our way. So the first question for you, Jasper, is what do you tell someone like that don't make enough money, like, and they want to save money? Like, let's say they like, I make 10 an hour, and they're like, I don't know how I'm gonna save my money and how I'm supposed to save money. Like, what would you tell them?
We gotta do something.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
dollar is better than zero, and I know it sounds easy, and it's not right. A lot of people don't feel like they earn enough,
Hmm.
but on the same token, like a lot of people won't do a budget, and I kind of like go through this litany of questions of like, well, tell me what you will commit to doing. So if I don't earn
Hmm.
a lot, I've got to cover my essentials. I got to have some place to stay, some shelter, some food, and maybe I have some utilities. You got to have those. So once you've
Hmm.
accounted for those, what do I have left? If I have nothing left, then you're not going to be able to save. I mean, that's the reality. But
Yeah.
for most people who say they don't earn enough, and I love social media because it helps me just like show people that they're guilty. They're guilty of not using their money or spending their money wisely. So you tell me
Hmm.
you ain't got money for X, Y, and Z, can't save no money, but I saw you on a trip. I saw you at the show.
Hmm.
I saw you. Now, unless you tell
Hmm.
me, Jasper, somebody sponsored that effort, you full of it. Like you got some money, but
Hmm.
the trick with saving is you gotta automate it. So
Hmm.
if I gotta think about saving money, it's probably not gonna happen because I don't think about it. Same with my
Yeah.
investments. I don't think about investing. I mean, I make investments, but
Hmm.
when I have if you're just starting out, you gotta automate these things. So if you're making 10 an hour, can I save 50 cents?
Hmm.
So out of that 10 hour that day, could I save 50 cents from that one day of work? You do that for 5 days, that's 50 cents you save for a 5 day week. Now
Hmm.
some people are gonna laugh and say, well, that's trivial, that's not doing much, but you're doing more than the person that's doing zero.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. I mean, I always tell people to start, get on ahead, open up a TD Ameritrade account, set up that Roth, get it going each week, or just put it in there and just let it sit there, because some people feel like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't trust the banks or whatever. You can
Yeah.
just put it in the TD Ameritrade account, let it sit there and chill. And then, some of the stocks, they're not all of them aren't expensive. There's this thing where people be like, oh, well, stocks are too much money. Well, no, it's you can just buy your share into that, company. If you want to do Tesla, you just buy a percentage of it, or and there's some stocks that are just $1. So it just depends. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's one way.
I think it's we always find an excuse as to why we can't do this work. Like that
Yeah.
that's the I don't care what you know. I talk to people from all backgrounds, and but there's this common theme that I've seen through my 15 plus years in the industry is we just good at making excuses. We will make
Yeah.
any old excuse not to save for ourselves, not to invest for ourselves, not to get the proper insurance, not to do your taxes. We'll make any excuse. And then when you
Hmm.
look back, and I know we're kind of kicking this off for the new year. Well, new
Hmm.
year, new me. I'm gonna get my money right this year.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see y'all got that same energy by June, by July. So
Yeah.
it's easy and convenient when everybody else is doing it. But I need you to be doing this when nobody's looking, when nobody's doing a New Year's campaign. I need it to
Yeah.
become a lifestyle for you to understand that, you can build wealth, you can disrupt generational poverty, you can do all these things, but are you going to stick to the plan? Because we all talk
Yeah.
about, and I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm going to figure it out. I got it all in my head. No, get it out your head, get it on some paper,
Yeah.
get it into an app, get it into a spreadsheet, and then tell somebody else. Because in your
Yeah.
head, stuff gets lost. I'm a financial,
Man.
I'm a financial expert, and I got a team of
Hmm.
people I work with personally. For my
Hmm.
I don't do everything. I don't want you to feel like you got to
Yeah.
do everything, but you got to get some help. And the question that I would leave people with a lot of times is, are you willing to let somebody help you?
Yep. That's true. I think that it's just kind of scary for some people because they're like, oh, well, I don't want to put back, my cigarettes I smoke or whatever they do, or I
Yep.
don't want to let go of my fancy car, and there's certain things. And I think that that has been an issue, even for me, because I'm just like someone that I wanna live and I want to save as well. So, I believe life is kind of short. So it's like if I'm saving up till I'm 60 and I might not make it to 60, then I'm like, dang, I never got that Mercedes.
Yeah.
But there is a way where two can, two can play that game where you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, but in a way that makes sense, I guess. Like still be saving, but then make sure you have to have a high earning income. Then if you're gonna, I think if you're gonna go after, if you're gonna get a Mercedes, and even then, to me, still, 100,000 may not. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
good amount of money, but it's not enough for some people. So it's like even then you got to be particular about your payments and stuff, but it is
Mhm.
possible to have the BMW and have that striving savings account and stock account,
It,
right?
it, it's doable even if you don't earn a lot. So
Yeah.
I had a client. This was years ago. She was 21, still living at home, had no bills,
Mm.
had a job. Now she stumbled into investing because she was listening to some podcast and just started doing her own research and just started doing it. Not
Mhm.
trying to like become a bazillionaire, but just like
Yeah.
I want to learn. And she started putting up real money out of her paycheck. She was like, I started with $25, and until I got comfortable, then I did 50, then I did 100. She was saving money because she had no bills, living at home. And again, she worked
Mhm.
a like a 15 hour, yeah, 15 hour, $15 per hour job. But when you don't have those other bills like rent, your rent or mortgage is
Yeah.
always number one. She didn't have that. I was
Yeah.
like, cool. Food, she
Mhm.
was like, mom and dad were covering. I said, so the
Wow.
two biggest expenses you don't have and you earn a living. The earnings for her wasn't great, but your earnings become that much more substantial when you don't have the other bills. So again,
Mhm.
this whole I don't make enough. Look, you got to cut out some bills, earn more money, or a combination of the two. That's it.
I
Most
concur.
Right. Most people don't want to work hard enough to do the I want to earn more. So now you lazy, but you want
Mhm.
more money. Okay.
Mhm.
You don't want to cut expenses because you used to your way of living, but your way of living is not conducive to stacking your chips. So
Mhm.
I had to learn I can't make you do the work
Yeah.
because it's like and I use other analogies outside of money to get people to understand why I know this is possible that we can do this because I don't need to have a heart attack to change the way I eat. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to have a heart
Oh
attack and then
wow.
say, I'm going to get my life together because now your heart is forever messed up.
Mhm.
And so, if you
Yep.
think about our physical health, a lot of times, a lot of us have to have that earth shattering moment where you close to the end. You're like, "Woo! I was almost up out of here." Now you want to change your life. See,
Mhm.
I think and believe that if enough people were proactive when it came to all things financial planning related, a lot of our issues we would not have. And especially when you talk about our community and other communities that are underserved, but for
Mhm.
people in general who are always struggling, there's a reason. And it's not some of these external things that we tend to want to blame. We have
Mhm.
a very challenging time looking ourselves in the mirror, and that's when I piss people off. And then I
Yeah.
lose friends and family. Man, you mean you hurt my feelings, and I'm like, I hurt your feelings, but you still broke.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather you keep it a G with me. If you're gonna be in my circle, family or whatever, friends, keep it a G. Now, if you're an associate, do your thing. But when
Right.
it comes to family and friends, tell me if I'm slacking, and then I'll try to find a way to still live my life in a certain way, but
Mhm.
still do what I need to do. Because the thing is, a lot of people, especially in the black community, it's like, well, the man got me down.
Yep.
Systematic racism. And granted, it's
It's
there,
there. Yes.
but
Yes.
but if you the mentality part, because when I was listening to you, you were talking about how it's not just about the money itself. Your mindset is your
Mhm.
number $1 million, investment. Because
Yep.
if your mind isn't ready, then it ain't no matter what going on. Like it don't matter if you're working at Pizza Hut or you the exec at a company. It's just not gonna. Your mindset has to be ready,
Yes.
and you got to be like, this is what I'm gonna do. You got to be disciplined, and discipline is a mofo. And a lot of people have issues with discipline. I was someone that wasn't as disciplined at first, when I got there, and I said
Mhm.
it started working out, and it started with then it started moving over to just keeping things more tidy, because I'm a tech person, so I'm tidy on the computer.
Yeah.
Everything is done when it comes to that, but when it comes down to just tidying up certain things in my home or certain things, I
Yeah.
was like not disciplined on. But all these things work with each other.
They do.
Just like ET the hip hop preacher says, it's all if you once you become disciplined, it's gonna trickle down, and people gonna start saving up that $2 a week. Just don't. do it yourself. Like I said, put it into your Ameritrade, and watch it grow, and just change your mindset. Get around positive people, I would say too, that are on the same page as you. Because not saying you can't hang out with people that aren't the same page, but sometimes it throws you off if
Yeah.
they like, let's pop them bottles, and then you're like spending all this money at a club, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't even really have all my rent next week or something. You want to make sure, that you kind of
Mhm.
got people to understand what you're trying to do.
But
So,
but we say it so casual in this conversation. It's very
we do.
hard. It's very hard for
It's
people
hard.
to want to change. I think talk
Yes.
is cheap in my book.
Man.
I've done so many volunteer efforts over my career, and it's
Mhm.
like the person is soaking it all in, like, man, this is great, Jasper. I'm enjoying this. I'm really going to make a change. And then they walk out that door and they go right back to what they're comfortable doing, which usually isn't the best thing. And so
Mhm.
I'll tend to see the same people in a workshop or a webinar that I'm doing like months or years later. And I'm always like, why are you here? And
Yeah.
it's hard for me to like take a step back because I care about seeing you win, but there's something that's just not connecting something up in your mind. Maybe it's some emotional stuff that you haven't unpacked. Because everybody I talk to, oh, I got
Trauma.
financial trauma. Everybody got it. So how are you gonna unpack this trauma and move forward? Because when I talk about disrupting generational poverty, it's almost you're doing your family a disservice if you haven't taught them how to do something different that's going to help
Mhm.
them move forward.
Mhm.
So I'll give you an example. I got a client. I always share this story. And this is what I talk about, like, how do we disrupt this thing? So there's a grandmother who's my client who's in her 60s, still paying on a student loan from undergrad.
Mm.
All
Mm.
right. Had a daughter's in her 40s, got student loans from her undergrad and graduate degree. So we
Mm.
got a whole bunch of degrees. Now let me tell you where I really get pissed off. Daughter had a baby girl. So now granny and mama got student loans. And guess what happened to the baby girl? She got student loans. So
Dang.
y'all got all this education is important because now we talking about
Yeah.
one generation we just made it there. The daughter, I had to go, grandbaby guaranteed to go. But nobody
Mhm.
said whether it was the mother, the baby daddies, like nobody in the family, the village. Nobody said, can we just start an account for baby girl? Because now the baby
Yes. Yes.
girl, and so I think when we connected, I was talking about these parent cheat codes because I got an 8-month-old daughter. All her
Mhm.
accounts got opened up when she was 2 months old. So now
Mm.
all I'm doing is getting the family to help. My wife and I did very little into all of her accounts.
Mhm.
All of them. I was like, yo, here's what we don't want for Christmas: toys and clothes. Yeah, we want
Mhm.
checks, we want cash, or we want digital currency.
Yep.
So I'm being intentional. My wife and I are being intentional as a couple to tell all of our stop giving us stuff. We don't even need it.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Last thing I said, I'm gonna get off this soapbox.
No,
There
no,
are
this is good.
babies. There are babies who have a fresh pair of J's on who can't walk. And my wife and I just laugh. The kid can't walk yet, but they got a fresh pair of J's. And I'm like, I know, unless you just are in the fashion business and you trying to look, the baby can't even walk, but you buying J's? My baby walking
Man.
around, you know what? Bare feet and some socks.
And then he's a little baby. He can't need no shoes right now.
Right. So when she can walk, we will get shoes. Will they be the flyest? Probably not. But
Mhm.
here's how you flip that. If you want your kid with a fresh pair of J's, at least buy the kid some Nike stock. At least.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
So
makes
when the kid
sense.
grows up, they can be like, I'm buying products from my company. And tell a little kid that they own something. I own Nike. You do. You own
Now
a
what if
share, a fractional of share. But if you own, you're
yeah.
gonna think differently about how you move. So when you see all your friends with Nike, you're like, yo, they supporting me, they making me money. Because they are
Mhm.
literally making you money.
And what do you say to someone that don't understand nothing? Like don't understand the computer, don't know how to get to the TD air trade, don't know how to what stock to get, what I don't understand what's these charts
Yeah.
saying, what I don't know what YouTube saying. Like what do you say to those people? Because I ran into a lot of people young and
Yeah.
old that talk like that.
So I try my best to say, if you can't figure it out by going to YouTube University, you need to work with a practitioner, somebody like me,
Okay.
straight up. I think is real. I think technology has enabled us. Like it's easy now to get in, but there's still that
Mhm.
level of education. There's that gap of I can get in now, but I don't
Mhm.
know why or what I'm doing. But
Yeah.
everybody was doing it. Like during the pandemic, everybody was on apps trading because it was the thing
Mhm.
to do.
Yeah.
You ain't never traded in your life, but because you had time, and a goal in mind, you started focusing.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
tend to lean on, if you can't do it on your own, I think this is when you bring in an expert to help you.
Yeah.
Somebody who does this every day, not just, occasionally, but somebody who's been in the game for a while, who can kind of
Mhm.
tell you, here are your options. I don't care what you choose. Like, I got clients who I manage their investments, but they also have their own accounts because they
Okay.
feel like they still don't want to give me full control, and I'm okay. I'm playing my position as their financial advisor.
Yeah.
Where is Mr. Bill Wealth playing on your money team? And I'm playing my
Mhm.
position. If you give me more, I'll do more. If you give me less, that's cool. But I just want to make sure you're making progress. And for a lot
That's
of us,
true.
we're using this. We're using this. I don't know what to do. But then if a solution hits
Yeah.
you in the face, you freeze up.
They still freeze up, you know? And it's the same thing with crypto and Bitcoin, because around the time there was, was it Elon Musk was tweeting about
Mhm.
the shark coin or whatever that coin was called,
Doge.
Baby
Yep.
Shark. I was
Yep.
actually an investor of it, and it was one of those things where everybody didn't really know what was going on. It's like, well, they said I could be a millionaire if I put my money in here, and it was like, yo, it just there's a lot of sharks in that, because me being a tech background, it's a way to code something out and then pull the money, and then you
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't ever real in the first place. I mean, Bitcoin's real and Ethereum, but these little coins that's popping up out of nowhere, it's like people do need to be, sit down and
Mm-hmm.
educate themselves. But that goes back
Well,
to like them, drinking the water, not just looking at it.
yeah, and crypto is here to stay. The problem I had, and
Yeah.
I tell the problem is, I have people who got jacked up credit, no savings, never talked to a financial planner, who all of a sudden were just obsessed with cryptocurrency. And then it kind
Mhm.
of it ran its course where over, let's call it a year or two, nobody's talking about it. There's still people and large companies who are dealing with crypto and blockchain, but the all those people that I've talked to who were like obsessed, I haven't seen them post. I haven't seen them share. It's been
Mhm.
radio silence. And I said,
Yeah.
hmm, that's a sign that they didn't really know what they were doing. They were following the herd. They just followed it because
Yeah,
everybody
and
else was
also
doing it.
playing a game to get followers, because these guys were acting like
That
they
too.
these millionaires and they had this
Yes.
house and they were getting money overnight. And I'm like, what what's going on here?
Fraud.
And some people that are just anxious because, hey, some people tired 9 to 5, they're like, whoa, I'm gonna try this. And it's like, and it's the same thing with stocks. People were saying,
Right.
I became millionaire with Tesla stock. Some people probably have, but it's not. It's more. It takes more money than what people think.
I
So
know.
people are thinking, I'm put 20 in, I'm about to be rich from Tesla stock. That's not necessarily
Yeah.
how it works. It doesn't work overnight. And I think I like Earn Your Leisure channel. I watch them all the time. I like those
Mhm.
guys, but sometimes I'd be like, okay, now let's be clear, with some of the guests that come on, because it's like we know that it's gonna take a little bit of time, especially for the average person to make a million
Yeah.
overnight with stocks. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Unless you got like a bunch of people putting in 10 grand or something, and then,
Yeah. That,
um,
that I love the Earn Your Leisures of the world. I follow a lot of these people, and I
me too.
listen. They give out a lot of great information, but I think you're alluding to the point where we feel like the one thing that they may be, or anybody's talking about on this given day, or that you see on the socials, like that's like their lottery ticket out of poverty, out of the hood, out of their situation. But like,
Hmm.
getting wealthy is boring and it's slow. Getting rich is sexy, and that's what they're selling. So everybody's popping on the
Mm.
internet, and they're like, "Well, Jasper, why aren't you popping?" I was like, "Because I'm not trying to be a scam artist. I'm trying to be in this for
Mhm.
the long. This is a marathon for me. Like, I've been in the
Mhm.
industry legit. I'm licensed for 15 years. So you didn't
Mhm.
see me just pop up during the pandemic and start calling myself a guru, but those came out,
Mhm.
and those people have incredible programs.
Mhm.
I do appreciate their ability to get the masses to actually pay attention. It's not all
Yes.
positive, it's not all negative, but I think for the
Mhm.
average person who doesn't know what they're doing, they're looking at this as, here's my lottery ticket.
Yes.
The probability of you winning any jackpot is slim, but you got to play to win.
Mhm.
And so I think
Yeah.
people are falling into these, I won't call them schemes per se, but they're getting trapped in this. It looks good, it sounds good, and these people don't know enough about your situation. So I could be on here selling anything too, but I don't know
Mhm.
what you need. So today I'm
Yeah.
selling this product A, and maybe it's good for like 100 out of the millions followers that I have. But
Yeah.
all the whole million doesn't need product A today, but 100 of them do.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what
'cause
the average person can't decipher. It's a good idea,
mhm.
just not for you today.
Yes. I like that. I like how you said that. Yeah, that see, you mean you're thinking I like that because it's and also everyone's not even a stock person. They're pushing stocks on everyone. And some people say, you know what, I that doesn't get me. That doesn't get me going. And that could be a middle class person or someone with money. They're like,
Yeah.
I want to do real estate.
Yep.
I just want to do real estate. And that's the thing. And it's like, so there's no one way here to get there. It's just about it's a long man's game. And especially if you want to be wealthy and but yeah, I like what you were saying earlier about how you and your wife were helping, putting money into a savings account for your daughter's college. That is important. Do you believe in starting in a Roth IRA for your child too? Or or
We
for
probably
certain people?
once my daughter has earned income, which she might at a very young age. You got to have earned income to do the
Yeah.
IRAs, and kids can do that if they're
Yeah.
doing modeling, if they're doing child acting, if they're doing any type of. If you got a legit job, your child has income, and then that enables you to do the Roth IRA. So I'll take a step back. Here's the four things I wanted to share with your audience and the parent cheat codes. So the bank account,
Yes.
everybody kind of does that. That's an easy one. We also did a custodial investment account. My wife and I
Oh,
debated
that's
about
what
the
it
five.
was.
We debated about the 529, and they just made some changes to the 529. But I was more of like, it ain't got to be for college. I just want to invest. So we did the custodial account. We did a permanent life insurance policy. We can talk about that a little bit. And then we added my daughter to a credit card so we can establish her credit history. So when she's 18, she's not starting from ground zero. So I covered four things that really, and this is kind of the idea, is covering this risk paradigm. Bank account, we ain't gonna make no money, but it's gonna be safe. So all these gifts
Mhm.
my daughter gets, we put a portion into her bank account. That's going to be there. When she books deals and gets a little bit of income, going into the bank account. The investment account, that's our home run. I'm buying all types of stocks in there for her, ETFs. I mean, I'm going crazy because she's 8 months old. So by the time she's 18, she's going to have a pretty nice sized portfolio.
Mm,
So that's
that's
that.
amazing.
The insurance. Well, let's just assume my daughter grows up and doesn't want to get a regular job that offers her benefits. So at a minimum, my daughter will have some level of life insurance for her entire life. It's not all the insurance she'll need, but it's a good start. And we
Mhm.
also are doing more than what's required into the policy. So the cash value or the equity in her policy is going to look pretty good also by the time she's 18, which is an asset she can tap into for whatever she wants.
Okay.
And then the
That makes
last one,
sense.
again, the credit piece. Look, people in our community just have issues with credit. I got people who got multiple degrees, make a lot of money. Their credit is shot. So if we taught people early how to manage credit effectively, we wouldn't have credit issues. So I'm trying to get ahead of all these things my daughter's gonna have to deal with. I'm just gonna reinforce these lessons and then show her you already have a good starting point. Now, if you mess it up, baby girl, it's on you. We're gonna have
Yep.
another kid, and that kid will get the same memo. So when I think
Mhm.
about disrupting generational poverty, there's just some things like my daughter may never know what it's like to be in the red.
Mm.
By the time she
So
wants to get a house and get a mortgage, maybe she's got so much in terms of assets that even though she got a mortgage, she's still in the black. That is how I think. That's
I
how
like that.
wealthy people think. So you can do a bank account. That's easy work. Can we add the other accounts? And if you say you don't have enough money, call me. I'll show you how it gets done for a very little. You can't do everything. If you got one kid, it's
You
easy.
can't.
If you got multiple kids, look, the oldest gets preferential treatment because of time. Look,
Mhm.
everybody pops out a kid, and then you have this 18-year window. Now you can start from like I did at month 2, or we can wait till they are junior in high school. You decide, mom, dad, auntie, uncle. You ain't got to be a blood relative to do the things that I just shared. So I think we keep finding excuses on why. Again, I'm
Mhm.
big on you keep telling me an excuse, but your family keep buying y'all stuff and sending y'all places. Can we take some of that money, not all of it, and
Mhm.
just set up these accounts. And then we get this 18 years is a long time.
Mhm.
We're going to have life issues like everybody else, but we started at 2 months.
Mhm.
You get your immediate family to subscribe to helping the babies. You get the aunties and uncles who don't have children who always want to buy them stuff. And look, buy them stuff and put money in one of these accounts.
Yep. Yep.
And
That
then
makes sense.
you rinse and repeat this cycle. So when my daughter may never be in the red. My daughter will never need a student loan. My daughter,
Mhm.
if she doesn't, she will always have some minimal level of life insurance. So I'm ruling out some of these financial issues that plague certain communities. So then we
Mm.
can't say, oh man, I started behind the eight ball with all this debt.
Yeah.
Nah, my daughter gonna be like, I started plus, plus, plus,
Yes.
plus. So if you blow it, then I have failed you as a parent, as a financial plan. I have failed you
Mhm.
if I haven't trained you for the game of life. Because the life is a game,
It
learning about
is.
money is a game. You have got to learn the rules and use them to your advantage. But you gonna play. And
Yeah,
if you
you gotta
don't want to
play it.
learn the rules of all these products and services and figure out where you fit in, then you
Mhm.
just gonna get played. But
Seriously.
you will participate.
You're gonna have to do something, y'all. That's true. Oh, I like that, man. I like the passion because that's the thing. Like, I tell people all the time is moving. We gotta do something. And if you have kids, start doing something now. There's so much information now
Yep.
versus when, our elders were around. Like, you got
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, you got Udemy. Because another thing is like entrepreneurs, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think it's a slippery slope, because we got to put so much money into our
The
business.
enterprise.
How
Yep.
can somebody say, for me, I'm an entrepreneur and
Yep.
and I still work a regular job, but at the same time, it's like I notice my money's going to my business. And then,
Mm-hmm.
how can an entrepreneur like save money with their taxes and stuff? I know you're probably not into the tax talk, but like what are some advice you can give to an entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm. So the tax piece, a tax person is one of those people you need on your money team.
Yeah.
So all my clients, if you don't have a CPA or an accountant or somebody who's just good with taxes, you gotta invest. It's not a cost. They are helping you stay out of trouble with the IRS. You can get real creative. You should pay what you owe and not a cent more to the government. And that's
Okay.
just good business.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna file myself and do good luck. You might be missing out on something. So my recommend always have a good tax person if you're an entrepreneur. You
Mhm.
need that person on your team to provide counsel. If
Mhm.
if you're trying to save or even invest for my entrepreneurs, you have got to have a plan for the money before you get it.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, and I fell victim to this early in my career. I would get the money and then try to figure it out. Stuff just don't work out when you get the money and you're like, woo, money. So when you book that deal, when that contract gets signed, when that client or customer pays you, there needs to have already been a decision made about said money that you were about to get. If
Yeah.
entrepreneurs could switch that in their mind, they'd be able to save and invest. You don't have to have a banner year, but if you tell
Mhm.
yourself, you know what, no matter the size of the check that I receive or the contract, I have to commit to myself to save 2%, to invest 2%. If you
Mhm.
just start with some percentage because your income is variable,
Yes.
so you're better off doing a percentage. So whether the check is small or large, you're still taking that 2%.
Mhm.
That's what entrepreneurs got to do.
That makes sense. I had to learn that, because I didn't understand when I was 25. I was selling these used to sell hookah pens when I used to, I said when I was 25, and then I was like, I was making this money and I wasn't saving it to recoup, so I get more product and stuff. I didn't understand the
Mm.
game, but now that I have my dating card game that I launched, I don't spend the money. I'm a startup, so I can't just spend what I get. I have
Yes.
to stack it. So I had to had to learn the game, I had to research, and the tax thing. Yeah, I'm gonna take a course just so I can know what the heck going on. But I'm
Yes.
still gonna have a CPA on deck. I'm eventually gonna get one because, it's important, y'all, because
Yeah.
it's you want to do. That's how you can grow your business. Because people look at, like I said again, go on social media, look at the glamour life. I got this e-commerce business. Shopify 20,000 one day. No, this the thing is, there's some, for the average person in the world, it's gonna take investment. You're gonna have to save those receipts from the social media ads, Facebook ads.
Mhm.
I had, all these things, and that's one thing that's important. That's
Yeah.
why I wanted to share that today, because people think that because you're just selling, you should just go and spend the money. No, you need that
Yeah.
money to save, you recoup, save for something pop off, whatever, so.
I also, let me say this too before we move on. Like the entrepreneur thing is interesting because I think for a lot of us, we feel like I have to be 100% entrepreneur to really like make it. And that's totally false. And I got a friend, like she kept her corporate job, launched her business. And the business, it took some time, like any other business. She got some traction, started making good money, quit her job, went all into entrepreneurship, was still doing fine. But then she was like, I kind of miss corporate because the corporate was such easy money. So she put some systems in place and was like, went back to the company she left. They paid her more to come back. They were already supporting her business. She leaves, comes back, and she's like, now I actually have the best of both worlds because this is what I wanted. I wanted that corporate
Mhm.
environment because she loved her colleagues and her team. And she was a manager. She's like, I love what I did. And when I left, I was by myself with like a small staff and it wasn't the same. So she
Oh.
had to refill that. So the void is usually, I wish I had more time. I wish I was working for myself. And then when she
Mhm.
got into that realm, she was like, they about to pay me a couple $100,000 to do the job that doesn't take me 40 hours a week.
Yep.
And it's like, so it's, you can do both. If you want to
Yeah.
be all in as an entrepreneur, just know, don't complain about life because you live in a different life. I don't complain because I'm 100% entrepreneur. So I
Mhm.
tell people it ain't for everybody. I got
Mm-mm.
long days, I got some dark days, but I know ultimately there's not a company that will pay me what I'm worth. And I know that.
Mhm.
So I can work
Mhm.
my butt off for 20 years. I'm never going to be the boss. They might pay me good, give me some benefits, but what if I bet on me? And so I had this
Yes.
issue that a lot of entrepreneurs, we just keep betting on ourselves because ultimately I know I'm going to be happy knowing that I tried.
Yep. Yep. And that's to me, like, it just, people have to figure out their way, and it's okay to work in a job until it flourishes, the business flourishes the way you
Yes.
want to. People, and I think it depends on what job. If you have to
Yep.
level up somewhere and be,
Yes.
because to me, the 22-year-old me, where I was working at a job that wasn't really paying that much, I wouldn't be able to focus to do both. But when you level up and you got the good gig, and you're just doing a little bit of work to you, it's like, this ain't nothing. I'm making this good money, and then you're doing your business after. It's fruitful because, and then you
Mhm.
saved up money. Because to me, I want to save up thousands of dollars before I quit my job. Really, I would like to save up a lot, and I think that some people,
Yeah.
could look at that too. But yeah, and because there's one guy, he's like a popular producer out in LA, and he works with Akon, all these people. But man, he's
Mhm.
still working for Apple, making 200,000 a year as a API engineer.
Yep.
And you would think, you think, oh, he's failing in music, that's why he's doing that. No, he's doing good in both. He just want both money. you know,
Yeah.
I think there's this misconception out here, and I'm happy we brought that up because
It's
you can
it,
do it.
it's still a problem. I mean, I listen to, so my clients who are corporate, they all want to earn more, but they don't really want to work for it. So for them, I'm like, you don't have to start a new business. Invest in a current business that's already making money and then add your little sauce and innovate, and then you good. I think
Yep.
also we are obsessed with startup culture because it's
Hmm.
sexy, it's alluring.
Yes.
It looks good to say, you know what, I've been living on the couch in my friend's house, and then we made it. There are very few unicorn companies, very
Very
few.
few.
But we are
Hmm.
obsessed with the, I want to go IPO, I want to get bought. Great. Look, I need you as an individual to decide what is it that you want.
Mm.
I've started my business, the Build Wealth movement, okay, I still want to invest in other businesses and say, look, I don't have to work as hard if I make the money and invest and let everybody else who loves doing these other things, I support them by way of funding it. It's like your VCs of the world, your angel investors, they just believe in these people and these ideas, and they're like, I don't have time to do all that work. But if that's what you want to, let me fund that idea. Let me fund that product. Let me fund that solution. So I think you have to figure out how you want to go about this wealth building journey, and you've got a ton of options. So it's almost like throw all the options on the wall and then
Mm-hmm.
sit back and say to yourself, which one of these am I really passionate about?
There we go.
The list shrinks immediately. Then you say, well, okay, here's the short list now. What is feasible for where I'm at currently in my life? And then a
Mm-hmm.
few more come down. And then you're like, which one, if I had to quit my job, would I want to go all in for? And then a few more go. And then you find out
Mm-hmm.
what you're really passionate about.
Yep. Yep.
I
That
mean,
makes sense.
I think we're looking for this, tell me exactly what to do, but you are an adult who's gonna hopefully go
Yeah.
in the direction that you want. And just know when you make that decision and commit to it, the world starts to open up when you tell people what you're doing, when they see that you're passionate about it, when they see you're still trying, when you're not a scam artist, when you're not a fly by night, every other week you got a new idea. I mean, which one of these are you really in love with? And some people are like, I'm just in it for the money. Well, tell people that. I'm trying to sell this, I'm trying to do that. Cool. It's hard to manage all these things, but if you have systems or staff,
Systems.
you can
Yeah.
automate a lot of stuff. So
You
if it's
really can.
automation, so I mean, this is how my brain works, and I know that me having kind of a regular job doesn't allow for this freedom of thought,
Yeah. I understand that.
and that's the difference between okay, I'm employable, but then what am I willing to sacrifice for that little bit of money, a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
benefits? Like, are you really willing to sacrifice all of that? And if
Yeah.
so, cool. You can have a good life.
Yeah, you can.
I have a different journey and path that I'm on, but I want to encourage people to don't be afraid to try.
Yeah, don't be afraid because, like when I make the decision to quit, I quit. I'm not going back to regular job. It's over. I like the freedom because I'm a self-aware person at this time in
Yeah.
my life. So it's like I know how to I just know what I need to do for me, like in the how I don't
Yeah.
get bored. Like some people might say I might be bored without structure. I don't get bored because I'm just my mind's everywhere. I guess I'm kind of neurodivergent, that new term they throw it out. Where they I can dip in different things and I'll just be looking and people be like, "Oh, what is she doing now?" I'm like, "I'm just curious, like what is just
Yeah.
curious, with the chat GPT thing. I was curious, but
Mm.
anyway, let me not. I'm over here having
That's-
hope. Let me go and wrap this up. But I have to have you come back on here again, man, because I love talking about money and entrepreneurship,
yeah.
finance, man. I'm not even a finance guru. I'm just learning now at my age
Mm.
about it. But before we go, I want to talk to you about whole life insurance. I saw they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
talking about this on your leisure, and this guy was saying, "Oh, well, you can start a whole life insurance. You can borrow money on it later and get a house or whatever." What are your thoughts on that?
All right. So let me give you the real story. So all the stuff you'll see on the internet is promoting. It's called family banking, create your own bank. It's called infinite banking. There's probably some other titles.
Hmm.
These are legitimate products. Let me first say that they're legit, but you have to fund them accordingly. So I've had clients who would email me, DM me, and say, what do you know about these policies? What it don't tell you is you can't do no real good policy for $50 a month. Let me say that.
Mm,
So if you only got like $50, $100, you can do a permanent life insurance policy like they're talking about. You're not going to be able to borrow for a long time.
mm-mm.
Now that disclaimer is not going to be in the comments. It's not. They're selling the sizzle to get you
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
But if you ain't got a couple $100, the policies they won't grow effectively just because you're not putting enough in it. So
Mm,
so a permanent I say permanent insurance on purpose because there are a lot of different types that fall under it.
yeah.
I know the ones they're promoting online, but I'm just gonna say for
Mhm,
the sake of this conversation, a permanent life insurance policy is similar to you owning a house. So with you owning a home, you take out, you pay your mortgage, and over time the home builds equity. Everybody's familiar
mm,
with that lingo. So the equity becomes an asset that you can use for going on vacation, remodeling your house, putting the kids through school, paying off debt. I mean, it's an asset that you can tap into. So these
Mm-hmm.
permanent life insurance policies have that same component. It's called cash value.
Yeah.
So you pay your premium. Over time, the policy will build cash value. Now, the borrowing aspect. So you doing a $50 a month premium into a permanent policy, your cash value won't look good for a long time. But let's say that same $50 a month policy that you can afford, you tell your agent, I know it's only $50 to get the life insurance, but I'm gonna put in $1,000. So you are really contributing only $50 per thousand to cover the insurance. That difference of 1,000 minus, so that 950, that difference, that goes right to the equity portion. So now if you're doing 1,000, I mean, it's hard to, hopefully that example makes sense to folks, but if you saw it on paper as an illustration, it's a little confusing, but I've tried to like, here are the columns you need to understand. And I show people, here's the one you're doing $50 a month. It looks horrible. You do 1,000 a month. You're like, oh my God. But most people can't afford the 1,000.
Yeah.
So the talking heads on the socials who are promoting permanent policies, they're not going to tell you that. But the reality is you're not borrowing from these policies for at least 7 to 10 years unless you stuffing some real good money into that premium. That's what you're not going to see or hear. So when I talk about life insurance, I know about all those concepts. The first question I ask is, do you need life insurance? Now, if you say you got enough coverage through your job or somewhere else, great. Now I know you don't need additional life insurance. The second question is, well, if you don't need it, now I'm going to ask you, how much do you want to put into this insurance program? It's still life insurance.
Yeah.
But it has, the borrowing aspect. There's the tax-free nature that you can pull it out. I use it for like a lot of my tech clients who earn a lot, who can't do a Roth IRA because of their income. They've maxed out their Roth 401k through the job.
Yeah.
They still got extra money. Like, what else can I do without having to pay taxes later? Well, I'm going to say this again, a properly structured life insurance policy is another alternative.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I'm gonna need to check out my life insurance policy now.
Properly.
Yes.
I got people that are like, man, I got this permanent policy. I'm gonna borrow. I'm like, cool. How much you putting in? They're like $75 a month. I'm like,
I knew it because I only put 120 in a month, and I knew it said it's gonna be about 7 or something years before I could even borrow on it, and I was like, oh well, like I said, and then the guy broke it down to me, and I said, well, later on, as finances change, I'll level up and I'll add more.
and that's what that's what I say properly structured. So
Yeah.
that's how I structure mine. Where if you came to me, I think 250 is the sweet number where it looks legit. Again, the numbers will improve in these illustrations if you put more money in. It's still not guaranteed, but it just looks better. And I'm like, look, if you put in $50, it's gonna look horrible. If you're doing like 250 or above, it looks a little bit better in that same 7 to 10 year time frame. But these policies that I love and some of these others that they promote, they have flexibility in that premium. So you may say, I can only do 250 today, right? But when you level up, I can rerun that contract and say, look, what's the most that she could put into this policy without causing any taxable events? And there's a limit. So on one of these policies that sold a couple of years ago, he could only do 250. But I said, when you get that next promotion, which he was working on, I said, you can put up to about $869. He was like, that's a big difference. I said, that's the most for the level of death benefit we got him. I said, the most you can do is $869. You at $250. So he's got a lot of leveling up to do. But I was like, bro, if you get to $869 quicker, like that policy is going to look better in a short amount of time for you. But
Okay.
let's say you don't want to borrow, and let's say you just did this for 30 years. You talk about having a chunk of equity, of cash value. This is why I love the young professional who's like, I need something else in addition to investing. I'm like, look at an insurance contract as an option. You might not need the insurance, but I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna talk you through that first because I gotta know if you need it. If you don't need it, now we're talking about wealth building strategies. That's how I like to sell it. I probably will do some educational sessions at some point around it because what you're seeing now is I got to get you to get that meeting to make you think this is some
Yeah.
brand new product. It's so sexy. It's going to get you rich. You're going to borrow
Mhm.
tomorrow. And you're like,
Mhm.
I got like $100. All right, I'll see you later. Like, holler at me when you got 300.
Yep. Yep.
But people will sell you these
Mhm.
$100 a month, and you just happy you did it, and then you're gonna look back and be like, man, that $100 ain't doing nothing for me.
Yeah. I actually thought about that because when I looked at it, I was like, man, I need to do better because this is not what I wanted. Because I would like to borrow on mine later on in life
Yeah.
because I would like to like get some property or some land or, and if I have kids, they can have
Mhm.
something, I want to leave them with something so their life can be better than my life. So, like everything,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I'm thinking about it in different ways. So that makes sense to me. I think if I'm going to continue it, I do need to
Yeah,
definitely
just
add more.
yeah. I'll give you. I'm more than happy to help like people with what they've already purchased because I'm gonna have questions that you probably should have asked before you did it. And I don't judge people for doing it because most times and I'll rule out the people who get sold from like the marketing stuff online. It's like your
Hmm.
cousin or your friend at church. It's always like somebody close to you who sells insurance who's like, I got this idea. The ideas are
Hmm.
great. And just if you don't have enough money, I'm like, I'd rather you put that in your 401k through the job that I
Yeah.
know you ain't putting enough in. And so I
Mhm.
find these conflicts with you're trying to buy products that are fine, but was this the right time for that solution? So I love insurance. I love investments. I love talking about this. I just need people to understand what's your plan. And it better make sense
Mhm.
to me. Cause I do
Yeah.
this, I
Yeah.
do this all day long. So I'm never gonna judge you or try to embarrass you. I just need to know. I'm asking questions not to hurt your feelings, but I need to understand what were you thinking of, and is the way of thinking causing you to have this like this blurry future, this nebulous type of goal where it's like I'm gonna borrow next week. Nah, player, not doing.
That's what was going on. That's what they made it seem like. Cause I'm just always curious. I watch different things because I'm curious, and it's
Yeah,
it's just hilarious. But I do like the fact that we're talking about it. Hopefully, this can get out there so people can
yeah,
can learn something. But yeah, we probably got to do a part two of
yeah,
this
for
because
sure,
I
for
still
sure.
have some more questions about credit score and all this other stuff. But I wanna ask you before we, you know what, I might have to let me ask you about the credit score because
Okay.
just real quick, how can people improve their credit score? You know, like because we seen Credit Karma, we got Experian app
Yeah,
and all this, and it's like, people also telling you, oh, go buy a credit card and then build credit that way.
yeah.
You know,
So I'm a big fan of one. If you just pay people back, your credit score will improve.
that's that part. Yeah,
That
just pay
that's
it. Just pay it.
if you just paid, your balance drops, or you like that boosts your score immediately. But if you're still like, I'm trying to rebuild, I'm trying to come up, look into what's called a credit builder loan.
Okay.
So a credit builder loan doesn't require you to get a credit card, but it's only a loan in name. It's really kind of a forced savings mechanism that reports your loan payments to the credit
Oh yeah.
bureaus. They're great
Mhm.
for. I have some clients who are like they're re-entrants. They're out of prison and trying to rebuild. I have some
Mhm.
clients who are immigrants who are like, I'm new to the country. How do I start? You can't get no credit card. Well, not an
Mhm.
unsecured. So
Yeah, yeah.
the credit builder
Oh
loan is
yeah.
an option. A secured credit card because you got to put a little deposit so they can like in good faith they'll know, okay, we can trust you if you get into a jam. We've got that deposit. And then the last one, if you have somebody very responsible in your family or friend group, they can add you as an authorized user, and you can ride their good credit to help you build. You don't need a
Good one.
credit card to look. That's always go buy something, go buy a new couch and finance it, go buy a new mattress. All those are still legit ways. But if you know having that plastic is going to cause you some issues, the credit builder loan, or if you have a friend, family member who's very responsible, they can add you as an authorized user. Now that person needs to maintain that discipline and structure. So I do that for a lot of family members who need like a little bit of a credit boost. I'm like, let me get that social. I'm gonna add you for 6 months. I'm gonna get you a boost, but I'm gonna coach you on establishing other lines. So once I pull you off, you've been building for a little while. So the building takes time. If you're trying to rebuild your or build your credit, you need to give yourself at least 6 months, but 6 months of being focused. You never late. You paying more than the minimums. You have, active trade lines. You are working on negative accounts, whether you're settling debts, whether you're disputing. It's a combination of all these things, which is, the people who are like, I got credit issues. I'm like, stop trying to do it yourself. Just pay somebody to do the work or pay somebody to support you. I'm sorry, let me stop saying pay. You need to invest in an expert. Invest in somebody that can help you. And there are these credit people who are charging thousands.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I think that's a little extreme personally because it's credit. Credit, I could give you a manual. You could become a credit counselor over a weekend if I sent you this booklet. It ain't that hard. It's just you gotta have time and you gotta give yourself this grace of understanding if I can stop some things in terms of my spending habits and clean up some of the negative stuff while I'm building some of the positive, that's how your score improves. So there are people who have filed bankruptcies before, but they're so far past that the bankruptcy is still there. It's kind of like a blemish, but the credit scores are like upper sevens. I've had it in some 800 scores. It's not a death sentence if your credit is trash right now. It's just you got to get more positive than negative. That's the credit game in a nutshell. More positive stuff than negative, your score will reflect that. More negative than positive, your score will reflect that. If you don't have access to enough credit, your score will stay low because you don't have access. So you could be doing all the right things, but your score is stagnant. You don't have access to enough credit. So you need to increase your limit. You need to continue to be active in the credit system. I don't like the system, but I know how to play it. So I
You
don't
gotta, like you said, to play the game. It's
play
all
the
a game.
game. You learn the rules. There's a lot of questions I will not be able to answer when I do credit workshops. And I say, if you start asking too many questions, you're going too far down the rabbit hole. Credit is basic. Do these simple things, this will happen. Don't do those things, that will happen. That's it. If you start asking too many why questions, I just shut down and say, we're done here because trying to understand our credit system is a waste of your time.
Yeah, it's already happening. It's the game that you got to play. Just like it's just, is it real? No, I mean all the stuff is made up, but that's another story because for another
Right.
day. But
the rules are right there. Do
yeah,
these things. Your score is comprised. Like people are like, my score is dragging. I'm like, do you have any late payments? They be like, I'm late all the time.
well, of course that's why it's gonna
That's a
drag,
big.
bro.
That is a big chunk as to why you always late. You got 60, 90, 120. If you just pay people on time, your score will go up.
Yes, I've noticed that because I noticed my score went up a few times just paying stuff on time. So I start paying attention. That's when discipline come back in. Get my
It
butt.
does.
Is it
Look,
easy? No, but
I lie to you not. If somebody's got credit issues, I'm like, give me 6 months with somebody who's serious, who has some level of income. We're gonna do some work. I'm not gonna blow you out the water, but I will get some very good progress because 6 months gives me enough time with somebody who's serious to know we're doing all the right things. It's just a matter of time before it starts to turn. And then you look out at about a year. Now I got even more time of doing all the positives, working on the negative. The score continues to creep up. And then it's just a time thing. You got to maintain it. They want to see the time in the game. So when I talked about adding my daughter, who was 2 months, my daughter's had credit now for 6 months out of her 8-month life. Tell me I'm not trying to be intentional about building her solid credit
yes,
history.
yes.
So when she's 18, instant approval, probably would get a way higher credit limit starting out because she's going to have 18 years of history. That's how I'm disrupting stuff. I'm
Oh,
getting
right.
ahead of issues I know my daughter's going to run into. So why not just tell her now? Or start the things and then educate her and remind her. And then before you know it, I've created another financial rock star. And then she will
Yes.
do the same for her friends and her family. And then it just keeps going. So year
It just
after
keeps
year,
going.
how all of y'all got good credit? How all of y'all got all this investments? How all y'all got all this real estate? How have y'all? It's gonna be like, why is it that all y'all have this? Because wealth happens by design. You
Yes.
don't get lucky and get wealthy. You can get lucky and get rich. Wealth is not a luck game. You plan it, you execute, you reassess, rinse and repeat.
Facts.
You put the
That's
plan
it.
in place, buy something, sell something, take some L's, and L's are learning lessons. You're not losing, you're just learning it. That
Just
didn't work.
learning. Yes.
All right, I'm done. We gotta stop because I'm getting heated, and I'm
I know.
like,
I see. I give people hype on this show because I be having so many questions. But I'm gonna wrap it up. So before we go, I always ask everybody, what's the saying or quote that you go by?
work hard until expensive becomes cheap.
Ooh, yes, I saw that on your website too. I like that one because I'm like, if I want a Versace robe, I should be able to just get the Versace robe. Shouldn't be a problem, you know. And I forgot to say my quote because usually I have a quote before I start the show. But my quote for the day is: the first time someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe it.
Maya Angelou.
Yes, facts,
So,
facts.
man, big facts on that. That's one of my favorite quotes to this time because it's like, okay, it's just you keep that diary of what someone said the
Mm-hmm.
first time or certain things. So that's
Yeah,
this infamous quote. But where
yeah,
can people find you and book you and buy
yeah.
your book
So
and everything?
yeah, so check me out, MrBuildWealth.co. So no hashtag. If they're watching this, they listen to just MrBuildWealth.co. That'll give you the whole rundown. It's actually connected to all the book, the merchandise. Is even connected to the Build Wealth Movement website. So I have a lot. So MrBuildWealth.co is a site you can check out, or you can go to thebuildwealthmovement.com. And however I can be of service, hit me up. I I will let you know if I can help. I won't waste your time because I don't have time to waste. I just want to work with people who are serious about disrupting generational poverty so their kids can live a life of privilege. I'm living this life. I want my clients to live this life. I don't care where you are today. I just want to know where is it that you want to go and how I can help you get there.
Amen. I love it. Happy Friday 13th, y'all. We got a word in on the good luck days, not bad luck. It's good luck.
That's right. That's
Friday
right.
13th. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me and Jasper, aka Mr. Build Wealth. We're gonna do better this year, y'all. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna get our finances together and we're gonna go into the next year just having a good time, maybe on a
Yeah.
boat, y'all. So
Yes. I
let's
love it.
hey, if somebody might get a yacht, that's my dream.
I love
But yeah, everybody stay safe out there and until next time, make sure you subscribe, share, and thanks for watching.
it. All right.